wasn't really even that the Giants were playing all that well, because I thought their execution was pretty sloppy too. It was a lot of turnovers. The Giants' defense, it gives up a lot of yards. It's kind of a bend-don't-break offense. They really like to turn the football over a lot, get some turnovers with their secondary. But I like how Tyrod bounced back from a pretty poor first half. I think it's nice to see a young quarterback who in 2 games that he struggled in has in the second half really rebounded. I think that's a great trait to have as a quarterback, to get your guys back into the game. But again, too late for the Bills to get back into it. But it was a very sloppy performance overall. But I think when you look at the running game too, Carlos Williams struggled. So maybe everyone, including myself, that was saying, I mean, it's premature, but that said Carlos Williams was a more effective running back than McCoy. Maybe a little bit early for that. I think too, in the receiving game, he was a big, impactful guy, but I thought the offensive line looked like a team, a bit. They struggled. I thought the Giants really had their way with it on the defensive line. You look at really the entire offense. I thought it just struggled into the all around. You look at the receivers. A guy that I think that has been someone who has struggled mightily this year, and I thought had a lot of potential, was Robert Woods. I mean, he's really been lost in the shuffle in this offense. Chris Hogan has really been the more effective receiver. He had 50 yards yesterday, and really across the middle was really where they made their money. Sammy Watkins struggled on the outside. Well, he didn't play, so they struggled on the outside. Harvin really couldn't gain a whole lot of separation, and again, Robert Woods didn't either. So they really tried to take advantage of Charles Clay up the middle of the field. And it did work, but eventually, your team becomes one-dimensional. The Giants kind of knew what they were doing. So an overall sloppy performance for the offense, but again, it's one game, and you like how the team rebounded in the second half.
Yes, and this seems to be a positive thing that you can take out of the Buffalo Bills, and even at their worst, they seem to come out with some positives, which is a beneficial thing for the Buffalo Bills. But honestly, there were a lot of issues, and guys, it starts with 17 of them, followed by yellow flags.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the penalties are concerned, the Buffalo Bills have always had a problem with penalties.
Yes.
It's kind of uncharacteristic of a Rex Ryan team to have penalty problems, as we've seen before, just by the numbers showing the stats. But when do we start to go ahead as fans and say, okay, our team has problems, we need to go ahead and behave like professionals? Or is it going to be a problem across the NFL like it is? Last I saw, I think it's like 13 penalties per game is the average now on teams. Mm-hmm. That's going to be way too much. I think the refs are trying to control the game by throwing penalties, not so much swinging in one way or one favor of another team, but just kind of put it at their pace, kind of slow down the offense.
An interesting fact here, Dominic of WBNY, Dominic Taverna, he told me that the Bills have had 3 straight crews of first-year officials. It's an interesting stat to look at there. The fact that they've had new crews for the past 3 games. Very trigger-happy crews, to say the least.
Yeah.
But Buffalo also, with one of those rookie crews, only had 6 flags against Miami. There might be a swagger problem with them when they're at home.
Yeah, I think sometimes they're often undisciplined, and I think it's not that Rex Ryan really lets penalties go and doesn't really care about them all that much, but I feel like his intensity and the mentality that he wants his team to have, sometimes some of the calls, the holding calls and the more aggressive calls on the defensive side, he kind of doesn't really seem to address and really seem as an important thing to fix. And it's not that he doesn't want to correct penalties. I just think it's more important to keep the mentality and the toughness of the team, I think. So it's something that the Bills need to correct because it's been a problem the entire season.
The entire thing is the Bills are how a lot of people consider a disrespected team. Even fans are going to say that they're a disrespected team because we've done nothing in the past 15 years. We have no playoff appearances in 15 years. You got to look at almost the Seahawks did when Pete Carroll first got to Seattle. Although they did have that Super Bowl, they weren't the best team up in the North for years. And they came out, they played hard, they had a lot of penalties. But, I think that's going to show one way of getting a little bit of respect around the league is, play hard. And the penalties are going to be part of playing hard.
Penalties are going to be part of playing hard, but here is the issue with Buffalo. I looked at the penalties and what kind of penalties have been thrown, as the Bills have had an NFL high accepted 47 throughout 4 games.
Oh, and it's by 10. It's by a margin of 10.
Yes, it is. Oakland is in second.
Yeah. And then if you look at the least penalized teams, right now it's Seattle and Detroit because they haven't played 4 games.
Yes.
But the Patriots are right there.
They also have only played 3 games.
And the Broncos are on that list as well. But
they've played 4 games. Yeah, that's impressive.
But they're a winning team. And as I've said before, I think penalties go away when you win. If we would have won that game, I think the 17 penalties would have been just a point somebody would make to go ahead and to bring up a point about how
Let's
bad
be
the
fair,
Bills
if we
play.
win, we're not flagged for 17 penalties. Because part of the problem is it's not the chintzy calls that are alarming me. It's the kind of penalties that we're taking, the personal foul, the unsportsmanlike conduct, the
Chop block.
The chop block?
the unnecessary roughness. We'll get to that one. I think it was a legitimate flag, even if he engaged at the waist, because they gave enough of a gray area to throw that flag. Richie Incognito needs to engage high on that play. Simple as that. If you're going to help out Cordy Glenn, who looked like he had his assignment, don't go like that. You saw his intent, and that was the end of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you as far as what Richie Incognito is saying about, or what you're saying about Richie Incognito. When it comes to the penalties, he has to go high. But that was just one of the plays that was over the course of the game. One of the biggest situations that I kind of felt was the refs were very trigger happy, and I know they have their microphones, which makes it easier for them to communicate throughout the system or the field. But what I kept thought was every time there was a penalty thrown, it was, all right, penalty Buffalo, or what did you see, penalty New York, what did you see? There was no conversation. And every time they got together and had a conversation, the flag was picked up. And I can remember it specifically with the Tyrod Taylor roughing the passer call or unnecessary roughness call. They threw the flag. I thought it was clear unnecessary roughness. They got together. There's no flag on the penalty.
I feel like that one was probably the only real message that the refs were trying to send to the Bills, saying, hey, you got to calm your guys down. I think that one was a message.
For having our quarterback get hit?
I think they picked it up because of the fact that the Bills had just had those series of unsportsmanlike penalties, and the interception happened, and then the Tyrod Taylor
So
hit
is it
happened.
is it a Cam Newton situation? Is you're not old enough to get that penalty?
No, that was a message to the coaching staff. What that was you got to calm down, or we're gonna send our message here.
Hypothetically, if Tyrod Taylor got hurt on that play, hypothetically, does that penalty still get called, or does it still get picked up? Because
I don't know.
You can't as a referee go ahead and send a message to a player to have your
That's
team
only my
calm
theory.
down.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Don't get me wrong. I think it's wrong.
Okay.
But again, it's only a theory. But to help us talk more Bills right now, a man who breaks down the tape for BillsMafia.com, Rob Quinn joins us. Rob, how are you doing tonight?
Doing good. How are you guys doing? Thanks for having me on.
Of course, Rob. Thank you for coming on. And, well, I think if there's one word to describe how we're doing, I think it's angry.
Sad.
Angry, sad, in a glass case of emotion.
Wah.
Oh, man, that was a rough loss.
Absolutely it was. But, Rob, there were several issues in this game that obviously we were talking right now about the penalties, the 17 that the Buffalo Bills had accrued. What was your opinion on the penalty woes of the Buffalo Bills?
17 penalties is unacceptable. I think they're up to 47 that have been accepted this year through 4 games.
Yep.
And that starts at the top. That's on Rex Ryan. He's an energetic coach. He's a player's coach. He riles up his guys to go out and play for him every Sunday. But at the same time, you have to be under control when you're in between those lines. Like holding calls, pass interferences, that's one thing. Those are always going to be called. But the unsportsmanlike conduct, the things like that, the fighting, that's just unacceptable.
Yep.
And Rex Ryan really needs to get a hold of them in the locker room and say, hey, guys, if we're a playoff team, we can't be surrendering 470 yards in penalties.
Yeah, for sure. This is an issue that I had brought up each week for the Buffalo Bills, and now it is becoming more of an alarming issue more than just a, hey, they need to clean this up. This is becoming this is becoming a flaw for this team. And I don't know what else to say other than disgusting. That's the amount of penalties they've taken. It's just outright disgusting. And it's the type of penalties, like you said, Rob. It's not the holding or the defensive PI. It's the unsportsmanlike. It's the personal fouls. It's those kinds of penalties that are going to destroy a team. And the Bills are averaging over 3 of those calls, like more than 3 of those calls per game. 3 of those 15-yard doozy automatic first downs change the field position on you kind of penalties.
Yeah, absolutely. And even the illegal formation on the field goal that wound up in a touchdown. Those are just undisciplined plays right there.
That's a 4-point play right there.
Yeah, that's the whole swing. But yeah, the penalties are a huge issue, and Rex needs to address that. After the game, he was talking, I want a guy that will fight for me. No, you don't want to say that. If you want to come to Buffalo and say you're going to be a playoff team, a Super Bowl winning team, Super Bowl teams don't do that. So they need to figure that out quickly.
Yes. Lou?
Rob, yeah, I have a question for you just about it's another issue that I think has not been talked about enough because of the reputation of the defensive line. I feel like they're kind of struggling to get on the pass rush. I feel like they're kind of struggling to get sacks.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's the quarterbacks really getting the ball out quicker than almost any other year. You saw Tom Brady getting out in like 2 seconds. Do you think that's an issue that the Bills need to correct in the pass rush?
Well, I actually did some research on that today because I saw a lot of talk about that on Twitter when Bills fans were getting a little worried about it. Bills, right now, they actually have they're 8th in the league in total quarterback pressures, which is pretty impressive considering that I believe the first game Andrew Luck averaged 2.3 seconds from time to throw. Tom Brady averaged 1.9. Ryan Tannehill averaged 2.4, and Eli Manning averaged 1.7 seconds to throw. So to get 68 quarterback pressures with 18 hits, I think that's fine. And there's a saying, Josh Norris, he's the guy that I look up to in the scouting community.
Roto World, yeah.
From Roto World. The disruption is production. So you see these pressures, they may not end up in sacks, but they're giving up a 57% completion rate in the passing game. They have 6 interceptions. So maybe they're not finishing on the sacks, but they're certainly forcing the quarterbacks into some bad decisions.
Rob, I pulled up your Twitter, was looking at it, and I saw those numbers you were talking about. It's 1.79 seconds, 1.99 seconds, 2.4 seconds, and 2.1 seconds.
Jeez.
So it's even faster than the numbers you were telling us.
Yeah.
And then another thing that you were saying, as far as your Twitter goes, the Bills are weak up the middle. Is it the fact that when they pass to the sides where Darby and Gilmore are covering, it has a lower completion percentage than opposed to throwing it up the middle where you're usually probably going to see Aaron Williams and Corey Graham.
And this is where the
and
Bills
Bakari
are missing
Rambo now.
Williams.
Is it more of a issue because they're missing Aaron Williams, who knows the defense a little bit better than Bakari Rambo does? Or is it just that we don't have the talent that we thought we had up the middle there?
I think it's the injury issue. Aaron Williams, he's been in the league since 2012. He's experienced. He's a leader in the locker room. He knows he's the professional. He's a true pro. Now you have Bakari Rambo, and he got thrown into action because of injury, and he's very inexperienced. He was cut by the Redskins. He was like a 5th or 6th round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
So he's out there doing what he can, but he's not Aaron Williams, and he's just very slow to react to the ball. And when you're playing guys like Tom Brady and Andrew Luck and Eli Manning and these experienced quarterbacks that know what they're doing, getting the ball out, they understand route concepts, they're going to get the ball out and they're going to make plays and put their receivers in positions to get yards after the catch. So I think once Aaron Williams comes back, we'll see if they have the talent that we think they do.
Now, the loss, are we going to go ahead and chalk it up? Because we're looking at the schedule right now, and when we all said to the bye week, if the Bills are 5-2 by bye week, if they're 6-1 by the bye, however it breaks down, are we going to look at the schedule now as the Colts weren't as good as we thought they were, and they're going to struggle to win their division? Or are we going to look at this as the Giants are a lot better, and they're in a weaker division and actually have a better chance of making the playoffs than we originally thought, and that when the season's over, they're going to be one of the tougher teams that we played all year?
I don't know, because every week in the NFL, something crazy happens. Like you saw
this week's done it more
Bears
than others.
upset the Raiders yesterday. So it's always parity, and you got to go one week at a time.
Rob, I don't mean to cut you off here, but the fact that you said that the Bears beat the Raiders and it's a parity thing, that just tells you how much parity is going on in the NFL.
Yeah, it's a crazy season. It's only 4 weeks in. So.
Well, the only reason I'm saying that the Giants, I think, are a better team than we all thought they were is because they're 30 minutes away from being undefeated.
Good
absolutely.
Point. Good point.
Yeah, and, with that being said, they haven't been able to play a full quarter. You were hearing the jokes of why would you never give Eli Manning $1 because he won't give you 4 quarters back because of how bad they've been playing. But
wow,
they played a whole game, even though it might not have been the best game. They still played a pretty solid game against us the entire time and never gave up. It was almost Tom Brady, Belichick-esque of in the fourth quarter, down on the goal line, throwing it. Why are they throwing it in the fourth quarter unless they wanted to run up the score and put up points? That's where Gilmore got his touchdown.
I'm going to say that the Giants' offense definitely did disappear during the third quarter, so I wouldn't say it was a complete game.
Our offense wasn't there at all. So
I wouldn't say it's a complete game, though, by the Giants. But, Rob, go ahead.
Yeah, I think they were just throwing because the Bills, everyone respects our run defense. I think they went from 1st to 6th, but they're allowing like 78 yards a game, I believe it is, something like that. But yeah, I mean, they're getting the ball out quick, and every team in the league now, they're going to that quick, short passing game because it's just an extension of the run game, these short passes. So when you can't run, why not throw a quick 5-yard slant and hope to pick up 10 after the catch?
And
So,
Gilmore made a nice play on that ball in the fourth quarter.
Oh, yeah.
that's the best way to play a slant, the way he played that.
And if only he did that the first time that Randall had that slant.
No touchdown.
Trust me, I'm a fan of Gilmore, but that play gave his critics something to chew on.
Oh yeah,
unfortunately.
And I think those critics are unwarranted because cornerbacks they're not noticed unless they give up a catch or they make an interception.
Yep.
So
I'm kind of one of those on the line Gilmore critics.
Well, I mean, but you said it yourself though. So
you couldn't have played the slant better.
He's gotten better.
He's gotten better as he's gotten in the league. He's gonna be very, very good. It's just hopefully he stays very, very good for us and stays on this team.
And speaking of corners that played very, very good, you can look at the other side, and Ronald Darby is showing that he didn't win that AFC Rookie of the Month for no reason. Darby matched up with Odell Beckham Jr. late in that game in the fourth quarter several times, and he got the better of number 13. So, Rob, looking at Darby and his progress here, is it safe to say that the Bills may have one of the best tandems at corner in the NFL?
I think right now there's not a cornerback duo that's better than them in the league. I'll admit, when they drafted him, I was totally against it. I'm a Miami Hurricanes fan, so I've seen them play FSU firsthand and seen him get torched. But we saw him in the preseason, and he looked like he was nowhere ready to play. But that's just a credit to Donnie Henderson, and he just coached him up. And he's actually the 3rd most targeted corner in the league. He's given up 15 catches for 153 yards. A 41.7 completion percentage, which is the 3rd best, the 31.4 passer rating, which is the best in the league. He's broken up 11 passes. It's also the best in the league. It's just unbelievable the transformation this guy has made since preseason when we saw him just getting abused by guys like Jared Boykin and just nobody.
Ted Ginn Jr.
They've played pretty fantastic, the duo, but I think the Jets with Cromartie and Revis might have the edge.
I saw you putting your thinking face on, Louie, when I said that.
Because, I mean, you think of a lot of the corner tandems nowadays, it's not really as dynamic.
Right now, of how everyone's playing, I don't think you could find a better duo in the league. That's how they're playing right now.
The only other argument I can make is Denver with how great Talib Harris and Roby and Bradley Roby too. So that trio actually has been fantastic. But no, I agree. I think Roby has come a long way. People really were wondering in the preseason, was he going to struggle a lot with the taller receivers because you saw him get manhandled by Kelvin Benjamin. But I really think he's held his own throughout the season. So far it's been a great start for him.
Yes. But now here's another interesting thought here, guys. Because, yes, while the corners have been playing well, there has been an issue with the Buffalo Bills defense, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Ever since that beatdown that they put on the Indianapolis Colts offense, the Bills have not looked as stellar as they should. I mean, they got carved up absolutely and horrendously by Tom Brady and the Patriots, and then Eli Manning was able to do what he wanted to for 3 quarters, I would say. So, guys, are the Buffalo Bills and their defense regressing under Rex Ryan? Rob, I'll let you start.
I wouldn't say they're regressing. I think the injury bug hit them, especially with Aaron Williams going down, Marcel Darius still getting back into it, and Rex Ryan has one of the most complex schemes in the NFL. So I think that's also they're going to have to go through some growing pains, and they're going to get better as the season goes on. And I think people are looking a little bit too much into it, but you have to think about Tom Brady, Eli Manning. These are Super Bowl winning quarterbacks that have been in the league for a while, and they know what they're doing, and they're talented players. So, I mean, it's not ideal. They're not going to get the 55 sacks that we had last year, but at the same time, they're pressuring the quarterback. They're forcing turnovers. And right now they're 500 after the first quarter, so that's all you can hope for. And there's a pretty favorable schedule coming up, so we'll see.
James, you had a face like Rob took your point.
Yeah, he said that, the two quarterbacks that kind of torched us were Eli Manning and Tom Brady. They've won Super Bowls, 6 between the two of them. And it really still would have been 6 if it wasn't for Eli Manning in those other 2 Super Bowls against the Patriots.
Yeah.
But kind of looking back on the Jets as a defense, I mean, if you go back the last few years, Rex Ryan defenses aren't known for having sacks. They're known for getting pressure and having great corner play when it comes to shutting teams down. And we've been kind of spoiled to have a team that produces a lot of sacks. I mean, 14.5, 10, and Kyle Williams is kind of left there with 5.5, 6, which is amazing for a defensive tackle.
Who also was injured.
Who was also injured, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of looking at what the teams are able to do, especially Rex Ryan teams, we got to get past this idea in Buffalo that sacks are what makes a good defense. We, as you said, we're 8th in quarterback pressures, and we're playing some of the fastest triggers in the league. Let's just go ahead and calm down and relax, and let's see how this year pays out, because we're 4 games in. I'm okay with 2-2.
As the once great Aaron Rodgers said, relax.
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 Now, it's not necessarily the sacks or the lack thereof that is getting my concern. It's the blueprint that is being established by both Brady and Eli Manning here, the quick trigger offenses. Because the Giants got off to a great start. They got off to an early lead against Buffalo, and it was very distressing to see. So it made me wonder. I mean, I don't truly believe it, but it made me wonder, did this defense take a small step back? So it's not necessarily the sacks or the pressure that's a problem for me. It's the fact that there might be a blueprint established for quarterbacks to try to exploit the Bills going with a quick release offense. Rex Ryan, I think, needs to jam these players more at the line. It looked like that's what he did as an adjustment at halftime, which was very relaxing for me to know that he was willing to adjust that. He didn't do it in the New England game as much, and it was very angering to me, as all 4 of the guys here in studio know. I went off quite famously a couple weeks back. But it was nice to see him adjust to that and hopefully not establish a precedent on how to attack the Bills' defense.
Yeah, but at the same time, you also have to think, you got Marcus Mariota, a rookie, coming up. He's from a very basic offense, the single half-field reads. He's not familiar with these quick strikes. He's an option quarterback. Then you have Andy Dalton coming up. He's not exactly Tom Brady or Eli Manning in his own right. Ryan Fitzpatrick and Blake Bortles coming up. I mean, I just don't I don't see them as the type of quarterbacks that can make those quick decisions on the fly and get the ball out and know where they're going when that pressure's in their face. So I think it's just a little bit of early reaction, and Bills fans just have to be patient and let the season ride out. Because with LaShawn McCoy out, Sammy Watkins out, that was still a close game. So.
Yes, and Louie, you had something here? Or
I just want to say, too, because on the offensive side of the ball, I think there's still going to be some inconsistencies, because you look at all the new starters, and even on the offensive line, you've seen some improvement. But like he said, you have some injuries with running back LaShawn McCoy. Carlos Williams is really going to have to, I mean, he's a 5th-round pick. I mean, he's come in as a change of pace guy, and that's why he's having a lot of success, I feel like.
I'm going to say that was not Carlos Williams' fault yesterday.
That was Craig Urbick.
It was Craig Urbick and Chantrell Henderson in a lesser extent. I think Urbick struggled mightily in that game.
I feel
Carlos
like
Williams was getting met.
Yeah.
Half of his carries, he was met in the backfield for a loss. So it wasn't even being able to establish himself or find running holes. He was getting tackled right away.
Take away the 11-yard run, it was averaging 2 yards per run. It was 16 carries for 39 yards.
And it's tough to get going.
18 for 40 or something like that.
It was 18 for 40. Yes.
But also with Sammy, I mean, he hasn't been statistically productive, but defenses respect him.
Yes.
And they roll coverage over to him, and that's what opened it up a lot for guys like Percy and Robert Woods in those early games, and take an extra guy out of the box. So you got Brandon Merriweather and Landon Collins playing maybe 15 yards deep instead of 20, 25 yards. Now you're playing 11 on 11 down the superstar wide receiver, and
it affects everything.
Compress the field. So
yes, I agree. I think that missing Sammy Watkins and missing LaShawn McCoy did hurt. But honestly, I still think that it started on the right side of the offensive line with the problems with the run game yesterday.
Do you think that they maybe need to get Tyrod more involved in the running game? Is that something that maybe to keep the defenses on their heels, or is that not really a concern to you?
I'm thinking Tyrod staying in the pocket is more of his kind of decision.
Okay.
He wants to try to establish himself as a passer, and I have no qualms against it.
Do you think Roman should maybe put in some read option type of like designed runs, or do you kind of just like him?
They've actually been running a lot of read options. He hasn't been keeping them. If you saw the one read option, I think he actually kept. He was stopped by Kennard right at the line of scrimmage.
It ended up like a 2-yard gain.
They incorporated that, and I think they're averaging 9 yards to carry on read option plays this year. So, I mean, I love Greg Roman as an offensive coordinator. I think he's one of the most innovative, multiple, diverse, intelligent coordinators that's in the league right now. With just how he's able to get guys in space, utilize his talent, utilize his weapons, get guys in space, and just run the ball. I mean, we didn't see that yesterday, but I'm looking forward to seeing this offense grow together.
You know, Rob, you brought that up, and I think it's time for us to have our little chat because I had major problems with some of Greg Roman's play calling yesterday. Tyrod Taylor has displayed to me that he is probably one of the more effective intermediate passers right now in the NFL, and I thought that there was a surprisingly low amount of those pass plays or those kinds of establishing plays for Taylor to use until the third quarter started and they started moving the ball and moving the chains. There were a lot of short passes, a lot of those like silly screens, dump offs, quick slants on a pair of safeties that are not necessarily established as cover safeties, especially Merriweather.
Oh yeah, and Landon Collins as well. He's a linebacker playing safety.
Yeah.
But look at what Charles Clay did. He featured Charles Clay and he went off for 9 for 111. So he saw that matchup and exploited it.
My question is, what took so long? I'm not sure because I had a big problem with all these little short passes. Clay was failing to get to the first down sticks twice in the first quarter alone.
First drive, the first possession.
First drive, he didn't get to the sticks after a quick little pass. Chris Hogan had the same thing happen to him. And then next thing you know, they start exploiting that deep middle and exploiting the two safeties, Merriweather and Collins, and they started moving the ball. That was not a coincidence, and I'm glad that Roman adjusted, but I had a problem with him in the first half.
Yeah, but that's just his MO though. He's gonna run the ball. He's gonna bait the defense into biting up, and then he's gonna take the deep shots. And we saw that in the second half with Clay on that one deep crosser, and then the deep out on the left side. So
and then Percy Harvin with the drop.
Yeah, there you go. But I don't know. I think Greg Roman is a great fit for this team and the personnel that they have. You got to remember they had Watkins, Harvin, McCoy, and Taylor didn't have any time together during the preseason.
That is true.
To really gel. So they're still having their growing pains. They're going to get together. There's only room for improvement, in my opinion.
Yes, I agree, and I'm hoping that Greg Roman is able to adjust a little faster than he did in that game, because he did look very good with his play calls against Indianapolis, against Miami in particular, and then to some extent after the Bills sputtered a little bit against New England, he really did help get that team going again.
Yeah, and another thing you have to remember is that without John Miller and Craig Urbick being such a liability, that he couldn't really run those 5-step, 7-step drops and really let Tyrod get back and go deep because he just didn't have the time. So I think he was planning on getting those yards after the catch with the short passing, and just didn't work out.
Now, with we've all established that Craig Urbick has been a liability the entire time, and it was very nerve-wracking and very nervous to see him come in and play for John Miller. There was a lot of talent available on the offensive line even before the start of the season. In particular, I'm thinking Evan Mathis, you have Jake Long, even Andy Levitri, the former Bill. Why do you think the Bills didn't go after any of those guys, or even just offer them a contract?
Confidence in Miller.
Well, I mean, as far as the confidence in Miller, but to even have as a backup, because we have Greg Sanborn is a long snapper. He's kind of an offensive lineman. Urbick and Quanjo, who hasn't come along at all. Other than that, there's not really a lot of. I have little to no confidence in the starting offensive line.
Yeah, well, Jake Long, he's had some serious injuries, and he wanted a lot of a lot more money than the Bills had available. Andy LaVitri, I don't think he's a very good scheme fit for Roman. He's more of a zone blocking scheme, and Roman's more of a man gap scheme. But I do agree. I think the interior was the biggest issue last year. I thought that was a bigger problem than the quarterback situation, to be honest.
Yes.
But I think John Miller has a lot of potential. But like you said, he went down with an injury, and Craig Urbick was a total liability. So, I mean, it's Rex Ryan's first year. It's Greg Roman's first year. So they're still building their blueprint of the prototype guys that they want. So it'll take time. It's their first year. Rome wasn't built in a day.
Well, we'll check out some more guard prospects this year, guys.
All guards. That's all I want.
All guards.
All guards.
Richie,
7 rounds of
free
guards.
Yep. Oh, no, we have a couple extra picks. Just 10 guards.
10 guards.
First overall pick, make it a guard.
But now, Rob, obviously we have to move away from this game, possibly for the sake of the sanity of Bills fans everywhere. We have to move forward to Tennessee, and you're looking at a team that's a young team. They really, I'm not sure really what to put my finger on them as a strength. Is this a game that we see the Bills go back to that high that we saw in week 1, after week 1 and after week 3? And is this about to be a cycle that repeats itself in 2 weeks when Cincinnati comes into town?
I really don't know, because Tennessee, they're really flying under the radar, because people look at them, oh, it's the Titans. They're easy to win. They're just an easy win on the schedule, but their defense is legit. I think they have the number 7 pass defense, the number 2 or 3 rush defense. They got a ton of talent in the front 7: Jarrell Casey, Sammy Hill, Zach Brown, Brian Arakpo, Derek Morgan. So they're going to be putting some pressure on the offensive line as well. And then on the offensive side of the ball, you have Marcus Mariota, Kendall Wright, who's another one of those guys who can attack you over the middle of the field. Delaney Walker, he's a talented tight end. Dorial Green-Beckham, the rookie,
Yeah.
He's a big physical receiver. So I'm interested. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think the Bills have the edge in almost every matchup. But then again, they have a strong offensive line as well. So it'll be an interesting game.
See, I'm kind of on the complete other side of that. I'm optimistically cautious about the teams coming up because, we were having the discussion today at work about how the Titans do have a good squad. And even as you said, is it going to be a repeating idea of let's go ahead and go away and win and lose at home to a good team, go away and win and lose at home to a good team? Not a cycle that I want to continue. Because I have season tickets. I want to see them win more than one game when I go to a game. But I'm looking at this schedule, and there was going to be that extra loss that we had going into the bye week. I think we got it out of the way with the Giants. I look at the Bengals. They look good. They probably are the second, third best team in the AFC. They have their division, I think, pretty much locked up because nobody really looks good in the North. So we're not going to be
Especially
fighting
with
for
Big
them.
Ben out and Steve Smith hurt. So.
Exactly. And, Joe Flacco doesn't inspire confidence all by himself.
Yeah.
But
True.
you're looking at the Bengals having the North lockdown. You're not going to get another playoff team out of the North, I think.
Probably not.
And I think if we just play well in the conference, it's still the best option we have because this is the best game for us to lose because it's an out-of-conference game to the Giants. Oh, well. Let's beat the Titans, let's beat the Bengals, and then let's go down, or is it go ahead and have New York come here, or is it, no, Jacksonville in London.
Yes, Jacksonville and London.
Jacksonville and London. Let's just go out, be 5-2 at the bye, and I'm completely okay with that.
Yeah, hopefully that Giants game is a learning experience. They can watch the tape, they look, it's an out-of-conference game, let's put it behind us, learn from the mistakes, and move on from it, learn from it. And, that's all you can do at this point. It's over. So you just got to look ahead and hopefully Shady and Sammy get healthy when in time for the Bengals game because that's going to be a huge game. And if they can get into the bye week, like you said, at 5-2, that's ideal.
I want to pull your attention. This is still related to the Bills, but it's an article I read in Yahoo News. I tried to throw it up on Twitter, but I really couldn't get to it because it was kind of odd because when you clicked on it was more of a clickbait article. It says LaShawn McCoy trade bust for Buffalo. And then you click onto the article, and it's all about how the LaShawn McCoy trade was the worst deal the Bills could have made. because they paid LaShawn McCoy all this money, and now because the Eagles won out because they have Kiko Alonso and they're only paying him $2 million.
But Kiko Alonso, the problem is he hasn't played for the Philadelphia Eagles.
And take the advice of the Philly Eagles fan.
Yeah, and I guess my question is,
we're also hurting with DeMarco Murray. Just throwing it out. All right,
I guess
ahead.
my question is looking at that trade so far, even though he hasn't been the most effective person, do you still think we may either have, I guess, lack of better word, won that trade, or at least came out for the better in that trade?
I said before, even before the trade, I think Nigel Bradham is a better linebacker than Kiko Alonso. I like the trade, but I'm also hesitant. I was more hesitant about the contract extension that they gave him than the actual trade.
And that's something the article mentioned was the contract extension.
Yeah. With all the touches he's had, the running backs that are coming out of nowhere, his age, it all plays a factor. I mean, he's a superstar running back, don't get me wrong, but you're going to get 3 years out of him. So, and he's already banged up right now. But, I mean, they got a stud, a superstar for Kiko Alonso, who was replaceable. The defense was better when he was injured. So, I think it's a gain for the Bills regardless.
Now, did you believe at all at any point when LaShawn McCoy went out with the hamstring injury that it was just going to be, all right, let's let him rest the rest of the preseason and he'll be back and up in working order? Because hamstring injuries are a tricky injury for players to have. And
yeah, they linger forever. Stevie Johnson's got another one.
Exactly. And coming around and having that hamstring injury, and now right before kickoff yesterday, it came out that LaShawn McCoy may be out 3 to 4 weeks instead of just the week that he was originally going to be out, or everybody thought he was going to be out. Do you see him hailing up anytime soon, or are we just going to wait till the bye week and then have a 8 games of an amazing LaShawn McCoy?
9 games of 100% LaShawn.
I mean, I'd rather leave it with Carlos at that point then.
To be honest with you, I was a huge Carlos Williams fan coming out of Florida State. Even
That's
seeing
big
him
for a Miami
playing
fan
running
to
back
say.
for 2 years, he was my number 3 running back in the draft.
All right.
I think he's a Brandon Jacobs with speed, and I think he's capable of being that workhorse back. So without LaShawn McCoy, you'd obviously love to have LaShawn McCoy, but we've seen what Carlos Williams can do already with an offensive line. So I think if the offensive line could step up and build upon and get better from last week, then it shouldn't be that big of an issue. The only issue that I'm worried about is the depth behind that, because you can't have Carlos with 25 carries a game by himself while McCoy's out.
Yeah, actually, did they even give Boobie Dixon any carries?
No.
I think he caught a pass out of the backfield.
I think he had 2 carries.
No,
like
Carlos Williams was the only back to catch any of the carries.
Yeah, Dixon had a couple of catches, I do believe.
Yeah.
Now, I just have one more question about one more player on the Bills. Now, there was a couple of times where it was 4th and 1, or the quarterback sneak on 3rd and 1 when Tyrod went at the middle and failed, and then when we tried it again, or when Quanjo went off sides when we were trying to draw them off sides. We're paying $3 million to Jerome Felton. We're not using him at all. Is he the type of guy that you want to give the ball in that carry, or is it just Greg Roman outsmarting himself saying, well, they're expecting us to give it to Jerome Felton, so we're not going to do that at all?
I really don't know. Felton's more of a lead blocker. He's not, like, even when he was with the Vikings, he was never one to carry the ball. He was always the one that was just coming up and hitting the Mike linebacker and opening the gap. But like I said, it's a new scheme for everybody. So I think once they get adjusted and learn the playbook and get down, I mean, we're 4 games into the season with a whole new coaching staff, new personnel on both sides of the ball. So it's going to take time. They're not going to come out shooting on all cylinders. But I do think that we'll see marginal growth with each game that they play. But on the other hand, we saw what the 49ers fans had to say about Greg Roman. They couldn't wait to get him out of town because they said that he was constantly outthinking himself. So that's another thing to keep in the back of your mind as well.
I mean, it's just there's a video that I've seen of I watched some of Jerome Felton in college when he was a running back, and I mean it was playing against lesser talent than what you're going to find in the NFL, but he still is able to carry the ball. He still has experience of running with the ball, and I mean he's going to be bigger than anybody, or just about the same size. He's going to be as anybody who's going to be hitting the line with it first, and we're only talking about a yard or two. I mean, I'm watching the Lions-Seahawks game right now, and I don't know who they gave that ball to, but he looks like a big boy, and he fought for a couple of extra yards there. That's what I want to see out of Felton, because that's what I think a fullback should be doing, and that's why we're paying him that amount of money to do that when we need him to.
Yeah, but at the same time, when you have Craig Urbick and in the interior line that the Bills have right now, that's a split second that you're giving them to get it. So I look at Tom Brady with his QB sneaks. He's the best in the league at it. So I mean, hindsight's always 20/20, but I don't know. That is an interesting question.
Yeah, it was peculiar that they decided that Tyrod decided to go ahead and do a quarterback sneak very quick on the line there, but I'm not necessarily going to condemn him for that decision. I mean, all it takes is just a little tap on the center, and you just go forward. And sometimes Eric Wood is a very inconsistent offensive lineman. Let's be real here.
Yeah, he's very overrated.
Yes, I mean, sometimes he'll play well, and then there's times where he loses his man very easily. So there's, like you said, the interior line isn't necessarily the best to work with. It's improved from last year, mostly because I don't know how much worse you can get unless we go dig into the 2013 Bills offensive line. And I don't think I want.
Incognito has been amazing.
Yes,
it was the focal point of last week's show. Was all the Richie love.
Yeah, we gave Richie his love last week, and even more now so because I do believe that he is a good player. And that top block, he messed up, but you know what? You're gonna get aggressive plays like that from Incognito. You signed up for that.
Yep.
So it's unfortunate, but at the same time, the Bills were looking very lethargic actually in the fourth quarter there, when they were trying to score a touchdown. And it seemed like it was the opposite of how they treated it when they were trying to, get some momentum after New England went up on them big. So it almost seemed like Buffalo kind of just like whimpered to the finish line there after all the penalties. And then
it was just like they threw in the towel, and
Yes.
then they were just playing undisciplined and angry, and that's when the fight started. It was just not good.
Yeah, and you know what? Hopefully that is an issue that will not rear its ugly head as horribly as it did there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rob, do you have any final thoughts for us?
I don't right now.
Guys, do you have any final questions for Rob Quinn?
No, thanks so much for being on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you for having me anytime.
Rob, before we let you go here, let the public know where we can find your work.
Go to billsmafia.com, or you can find me on Twitter at arquin619.
And on arquin619 on that Twitter page, you will find lovely vines of Bill's tape work, film work. Rob gets it done. And Rob, thank you very much for coming on to the show tonight.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Anytime.
Absolutely. Rob Quinn of billsmafia.com. And guys, that Bills game was a train wreck. We got to admit that.
Yep, but I mean, the good thing is that there's always a game the next week. And it's an interesting matchup against a Tennessee team that's really been surprising some people. The only matchup I want to say too, they mentioned earlier Dorial Green-Beckham. If they can get him matched up against Roby, that could be a mismatch for the Titans to exploit.
In the slot, yes.
Yeah, so Green-Beckham's been has really had a nose for the end zone the past couple of weeks. Mariota's been targeting him in the red zone. I mean, obviously, why wouldn't you? He's, I believe, 6'4", 6'5". So
6'5", and he can run just as well.
So that's a matchup to keep an eye out for, definitely.
Yes, but again, Buffalo's got to move ahead from this. I have this small fear that we're going to be repeating this cycle 2 weeks from now after Cincinnati. And, it's something to look at. It's something to look into. But I'm not going to overreact and say Bills are going to be 3-3. Mostly because I'm not sure how I do with my pick'ems every week.
True.
Now,
especially after this week.
Joe, Frank, do you guys exist on the show today? Oh, Frank just did.
Yes, I think so.
Uncharacteristically
There's
quiet.
I wanted the expert to have as much airtime as he possibly could.
There you go. You're such a good person, Joe.
What a
I
guy.
already know that. Plus, I was so distraught after yesterday. I just don't want to blow up on air.
I'm
here.
still kind of recovered from all the hockey talk.
We're all still on the couch picking up Kleenex.
Anyone,
okay, guys.
anyone that saw me on Twitter yesterday, I was ready to go.
And
Yeah.
funny thing was I took that.
You took me
offer.
on.
But I kind of helped calm you down a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit.
Just a wee bit.
I had to
That's what
leave
we-
Twitter for a little bit.
that's
I have a
what
lot
I
of
do.
friends that are Giants fans, and that just did not make it any
Can
better.
I make a mention of
I just don't know
the
how they can
Giants
break.
fans?
Oh, the Giants fans.
The Giants
It
fans.
was, I feel in the two home
Larry.
games we've had, there really hasn't been, there's been a home field advantage, of course, but there's a lot of away team fans in our stadium. The Patriots game, every time the Bills had a penalty or the Patriots scored a touchdown, it was loud in the stadium. When the Giants went up, it was really, really loud in the end zone and in the lower bowl. There had to have been, no lie, 10,000 Giants fans there yesterday. And, let's go Giants. That's nothing you want to ever hear outside a Giant stadium.
Never.
And it was one of the worst home field atmospheres I've ever been around, because you have all the Giants fans cheering, going as the Bills are trying to go into the end zone, and I can't imagine that feels good for the players to have that disadvantage. And in the third and fourth quarter, Bills fans were just completely silent.
Yeah.
It was not a fun atmosphere to be around later in the game, because
yeah.
the penalties keep happening. Now the fans are upset and they're booing. And there was one Giant fan in
You
my
got the
section.
big guy just ringing the bell.
Yeah. There was a Giant fan in my section that anytime the Bills got a penalty, he'd stand up and start like, "Oh yeah, you guys penalties, you guys this, you guys that." It's like, come on.
I mean,
let's get real.
I'm okay with an opposing fan doing the dance. They paid money, they showed up.
He's one fan.
He's one fan.
That's one fan.
You know.
I don't care what he says. He's wearing the wrong jersey. His opinion immediately does not matter.
Well, come on now, James. You're a radio station analyst now. You got to
Nope.
take things a little more even keeled.
Not when it comes to other fans.
Speaking of keeping things even keeled, when we get back, we are not the only ones that had issues this weekend.
Yeah.
The Eagles?
The good old Eagles got Louie a nice little matching aggravation present.
How did the locks of the week weren't too solid either? Were
No,
they?
Locks
they
of the
absolutely
week.
were not.
James, you're the
No.
only one in contention.
I know. I think it's fantastic, and I should get bonus points for this.
Stop.
Nope.
It's a weekly count.
I won.
So you got some catching up to do though.
All right.
I've had an established lead.
Yep.
This is the first time I've missed.
We're going by win percentage. Because I missed the first week.
There's 4 different categories.
Okay.
Someone's taking something home.
All right.
That's true.
But we'll go around the league next on the Buffalo Blitz. Stay tuned on 91.3 FM WBNY.
Lend an ear and you'll hear all about a beer for here. We're sincere, a pioneer. Community Beer Works.
Located at 15 Lafayette Avenue, Community Beer Works bills growlers 3 to 7 p.m. Thursdays and Fridays, and at Bidwell's Farmers Market on Saturdays. For more information, go to communitybeerworks.com. Cheers!
So here's 3 cheers for local beers. Beer, 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 Community Beer Works.
What does the excitement of NHL hockey sound like? Well, it could sound something like this.
Puck scoop to the blue line. Now thrown down into the corner. Comes out front. Tried to hook one on goal. In deep, a shot and a save. Moves in and shoots, save. Rebound, save. Oh, and that one ran off the post. He's around the net, trying to come out. Oh, my goodness.
Don't miss the excitement of Buffalo's best hockey talk show every Monday night at 8 p.m. Part of All Talk Monday.
Here's a steal. That's done. A three-liner. A nice move around the center. It's gone! What a goal! Off the floor! On the board! It doesn't get any better than this!
Neutral Ice on Buffalo's original alternative, 91.3 FM WBNY.
Hey, local businesses! Did you know that underwriting could get you noticed and recognized from people all throughout the Buffalo area for only a fraction of the cost of what you would pay for commercial radio airtime? 91.3 FM WBNY has been an integral part of the Buffalo community since 1982. Did you know that we're a non-for-profit student-run organization? For us to maintain our daily operations, WBNY counts on the student activity fee here at Buffalo State, as well as contributions from you, the local businesses. For more information, contact the WBNY underwriter at 710 416-878-3080 or WBNYUWD@gmail.com.
.3 FM WBNY, and you know what? The Benny Hill theme kind of fits there because I forgot to turn it back on. And it also fits because somebody picked the Miami Dolphins to win the AFC East.
Ha! Don't rub it in.
Ha!
Wait, we're all making the excuse that it's a quarter into the season. It could happen.
I'm not the only one that bought into the hype.
No one.
The first team to fire their head coach.
He's out of here.
I mean, it's not like he made an impact anyway. The dude was literally utterly useless. So good riddance. Maybe this will help.
DeMarco Murray?
Maybe this will help my pick. Oh.
Oh.
Good point. No, I agree. I agree 100% with that point.
I'm sorry.
No, it's true.
I'm not sorry.
Can we start with the Eagles-Redskins game just because? And give Lou some time to talk about it?
Just because Joe got another lone wolf right this week.
Woo! Joe, I'm starting to think that you don't really put much thought into it. You just kind of go for it, and he's just getting lucky.
In my defense, my lone wolfer,
your lone wolfer was because you said that you were going to take one.
I said I would take the next one, and it happened to be one of the worst ones to choose.
It didn't
but
really
Alex
work in your
Smith
favor.
still threw for 300 and some odd yards. No touchdowns, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously, no touchdowns, but let's start with the Eagles. And my point is they're a train wreck. And as many times as I refer to the Washington Redskins as a piece of hot garbage and a train wreck and what other adjectives I can use to describe,
it's bad.
They're bad. And in a division that doesn't look so good besides the Giants, hey.
Who I still don't think look good.
The Giants are going to win the division.
I mean,
I said the Giants would win the division at the beginning of the season.
There it is.
Do we have
it's
that
on the internet.
Recording? I don't know.
Do we have that in?
He might
Look it
make
up.
that up out of
Do we have that in archive?
It's recording now, right?
Yeah.
It is recording now.
Okay,
but
so now it's official as of 4 weeks in.
Joe, I actually don't have your picks from division winners because you were not part of the group on the summer.
Well, I guess you have to take my word for it then.
I'm just going to have to dig it up, aren't I?
Done.
Dun.
Should I vent real quick?
Yeah, we'll give you 2 minutes.
All right,
you know what?
So
I'm unripped time.
Hey, I'll kick you off.
Clock starts now.
Hang on. No.
Garcon.
No. Hang on. I'm going to make sure that
Was that like a Garcon, like go ahead and Garcon,
running.
like continue, or is it because Garcon scored the game-winning touchdown? Because that could go either way.
Yeah.
All right. Here we go. Oh, nope. Wait, nope. I don't want the Benny Hill part.
Yes, you do.
No. Go, Louie.
All right, so there's a few factors into why this Eagles team is so utterly depressing right now, and it's not just the fact that they have no star power, no speed or explosion on the offense. When your touchdowns are from Riley Cooper, Miles Austin, and Brent Selleck. I mean, even though Bradford looked good and pushed the ball downfield, like your real weapons were doing absolutely nothing. DeMarco Murray, this is the problem with Chip Kelly is his ego thinking that he could just go and get anyone in this offense that would fit. It was totally 100% wrong because saying LeSean McCoy wasn't a fit yet DeMarco Murray is. Well, when you're lining up in the shotgun every single play and DeMarco Murray's 5 yards back and the hole isn't open for 2 minutes like it was in Dallas because that offensive line was insane, the slow running back that's supposed to be in a power I type system, this music is throwing me off. Murray can't hit the hole in time.
It's sad music.
Yes, McCoy wasn't a fit because he danced a lot, but that's what Ryan Matthews is. He has the speed and he's a downhill runner. Murray lacks the speed, and that's why he has been so terrible. And I think Chip Kelly has refused to adjust, and he'll go down with the ship before even trying to adjust the offense because it's either his way or the highway. Right now it's his highway right back to college because at this point it's been horrible. The defenses only can hold as much as you can when you're playing over 30, 40 snaps a game.
That is true.
It's kind of tough to hold them when they were incredible the entire, they finally just gave way in the last drive because they played far too much.
Incredible? Really?
They're first against the run.
They have been playing very well. I mean, you're talking
run.
the team. You said 30, 40 snaps, and I know you meant minutes.
Yeah, and
because
and they're still
that defense has been on the field way too long because Chip Kelly doesn't huddle.
Yep.
And when you go 3 and out on an offense that doesn't huddle,
it's a minute. It's a minute.
And it wasn't just the scheme that was a problem because I thought Bradford pushed the ball down very well. It's the offensive line is still not giving them enough time. Look at the last 29 seconds of the game.
They cut an all-pro guard.
They cut 2 guys that actually were very
I'm just
productive.
saying we should have got that all-pro guard, but we'll get back to that later.
Yeah, I mean, I get that sentiment.
There's nothing really you can fix until Chip Kelly adjusts his offense, because I think the defense can this defense
or
can
the
work.
Eagles adjust their coach.
I mean, at that point, this is what it's coming down to, because it's been bad, and their receivers, him thinking that anyone can fit into the scheme. Nelson Aguilar had 60 yards receiving, which is pretty average, but he turned the football over. Josh Huff was nowhere to be found, to the point where they had to throw in Miles Austin there because he couldn't gain any separation. And Jordan Matthews in the slot is still dropping footballs, and that's a problem that he has not corrected. So it's a million things at once, really, with this offense that's just not working. And week in and week out, you're thinking, oh, is Chip Kelly going to adjust? Is this going to finally be the week that the offense blows up? And it's the same stuff every week. The only thing I'm really optimistic about is Bradford actually not checking down every single play. So the division, what's funny is they're still a game back in the division because of how bad this division is, but there's nothing to make you think that the Eagles are going to take advantage of that. So there's my vent rant. Chip Kelly might be looking for the NCAA very soon.
All right. So Lou, so is it too soon to do this?
I'll give it one more week against a Saints team that's also 1-3. If they lose that one, then I'll hit that big red button.
All right, but
fire Chip Kelly.
Fire Chip Kelly.
I mean, I don't. Yeah.
Second fired head coach.
He's gonna
hashtag clip Chip.
The man that destroyed an entire franchise in one offseason.
That's a James Bittler original. Clip Chip.
He'll get the entire season, but yeah, I don't expect him to be here next year if they don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
You can't blow up a roster and get rid of all that star power and manage to stay. Like it's absurd.
You can just blow it up. He destroyed.
You blew up a 10-6. It's kind of the same thing with them back in the Dream Team era. You were the 3rd seed and you lost to a Packers team in the first round. Instead of trying to just improve with a few parts, they blew it up.
The Dream
and
Team
they did it again.
Like 3 years ago.
But they added players that way. They didn't take them away.
Well, yeah, but this year they were adding a million players too, but they all just didn't gel on offense. So it's kind of the same mistake that a new coach is learning. Again, it just doesn't work. So,
and this is why coaches are not handed the reins of building their own roster.
After 2 years, I mean, yes, he has 20 wins in those, but not all coaches are good at personnel moves.
Yes,
that's been shown
there's a
over
whole
and over
different
again.
responsibility to it.
The Eagles had that problem with their last head coach. Andy Reid really wasn't that great at selecting personnel when he took over for Joe Banner. So.
Yeah. So it's funny that Reed's players have helped Chip Kelly get more wins as an NFL head coach than Chip Kelly did.
Because they had talent and they were explosive. There's not one guy in that offense right now that scares you. Absolutely not one guy. Nope. Right?
No.
Who are you game planning for?
This is a lot of
Darren Sproles, because that's
Riley
the guy
Cooper.
right now that's the guy that scares you. I mean, there's a reason why Riley Cooper was open on that 72-yard.
Ty Domi.
You know who you would
Nelson Aguilar.
game plan for?
I'm just looking at their roster. I'm just throwing names at you.
Maybe if they didn't sign Tim Tebow over Tyrod Taylor.
I saw that.
Oh.
Me and Derek were looking at that before the show, and I could not be more frustrated.
I'll give you that. You do have to game plan for Tim Tebow. It's called don't play any cornerbacks.
Stack 10 in the box.
Blitz everyone.
It's called move in. This guy can't throw.
All right, guys. We're just going to run field goal block this whole game.
I'm just going to pick a play from Madden. Blitz A.
Punt block man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into make fun of Tim Tebow.
Oh, I mean, I am more than okay with engaging in making fun of Tim Tebow.
I don't even want to think about it because, I mean, Tyrod in that offense, I feel like they're lacking on offense too because they don't have a mobile quarterback. I think they've reached their peak in Kelly's offense with a pocket passer. But
would you rather have Sam Bradford or Paul Donovan McNabb out of retirement?
Can I have Randall Cunningham?
Sure.
At current age.
At current age.
I'll take Jaws, actually. He watches a lot of films, so he's ready.
I watched 26 hours of film last night. Jaws, there's only 24 hours in a day. I know.
He had them all going up at the same time.
Exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
Frustrating stuff.
No, Louie, I'm actually
looking at the screen.
very surprised based on how angry you were that violin music really did kind of mess you up. Because you were on such a rant that I was like, I have to play this, and
it's just a roller coaster because there was so much optimism in the offseason, especially with the preseason.
You were so happy too.
This is just like the complete opposite of what I expected. But I guess, like you said earlier before the show, it was what Jordan Hanskin said over the summer. It was you were going to be at the top of glory, or you were going to fall.
Yeah,
and he
said
fallen.
This was either going to be a 12 and 14 team or a 4 and 12 team.
Yeah.
And that might happen.
And that might happen. They're currently on pace for 4 and 12.
Yeah.
Terrific.
Math.
Math.
Logic.
Hashtag math.
Fail for Cardale?
That's an Ohio thing. I don't think you can steal that yet.
Get cooked for cook.
There it is.
Ah.
Give me a minute. I'll come up with one.
Scoff for goff.
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
Thanks.
Okay.
What rhymes with Mdici?
Let me
Dici.
otta for Joe Licata.
Oh, there it is.
Oh.
God.
Now, guys, obviously the Eagles were not just the only big story in the NFL. There are still several undefeated teams that are actually good and winning, and not 1-3.
So not the Eagles.
So not the Eagles, not the Bills either.
Yeah.
The Patriots.
The New England Patriots got to sit and laugh at everyone
Cheating.
while they
They were still cheating.
while they continue their middle finger tour around the
Can you
world.
imagine
Real
if
quick,
they just... Yeah, go
I just
ahead,
want to
go
say
ahead.
about the New England Patriots sitting and laughing and giving their middle finger to the world. As of next week, the Bills are going to play 3 of their 5 teams against teams with extra rest in the first 5 games of the season.
Yeah, that's right.
There's something that has to be wrong with this schedule.
The Bills went off about it.
Yeah, we have an extra rest day when we come back from the bye and we have to go to New England. And then when I think after the Jets game, we have extra rest. That's only twice. I mean, that's a deficiency of 1. It's not fair to the team, but that's not an excuse for 17 penalties. I just read that stat, and I wanted to say that out loud on the radio. So I'm done.
Interesting.
Now, Rob Quinn pointed out something about the parity in the NFL and how the Raiders were somehow a favorite against
So
the
much
Bears.
parity.
And guys, topsy-turvy, I don't even think comes close to describing the chaos that was this past weekend.
It's insane. I mean, the minute you think the Cardinals are the team to beat the NFC, the Rams beat them. I mean, it's...
Yep.
You think the Bears are
Bears
tanking,
beat
and
the
they beat the
Raiders.
Raiders. You know?
And Cutler says, no, you cannot tank.
Kirk Cousins is suddenly tied for first in the NFC East. It's the bizarro world right now.
About the Rams
the
Cardinals
NFL.
game, the same thing happened as far as the illegal defensive formation. We had a rookie ref crew for the game, but the ref in the Rams Cardinals game went up to the player on the line and said, "Hey, you're lined up over the center. Can you move over? I'm going to call a penalty on that."
Hey, they did that with New England last year, so
And
it's
they
not
did
just
that-
New England. They're not favoring one team.
New England's still cheating.
They're favoring a
They're
few
still
teams.
cheating.
They're still cheating somehow, somewhere. Bill Belichick is just in a dark room looking at football saying, "How can I cheat and be better?"
How can I manipulate you?
And it's just a football. Him and a football in one room.
And he's just got some like Sith dark force on him
That's
right
the
now.
hood, the hoodie. But it's not. There needs to be more consistency as far as officiating goes, just for that
Of
aspect
course.
alone.
But it's going to differ from crew to crew.
It's going to differ from crew to crew, and there's how many different crews out there.
The Bills are going to draw Ed Hockley with Tennessee, and it's one of the least, that's one of the least trigger happy crews in the NFL.
Yeah, but Ed Hockley has been on his side of controversy in the league, and
But we'll see what happens
He's got
here.
some big arms.
he can
He's
flex.
got them
it.
guns.
What was the story when
Them guns.
when he found out that the refs were coming back? He immediately went to his house gym and started doing push-ups. And then his wife came home and goes, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Strike's over. I need to look good."
Oh my God, that's incredible.
That's funny.
I mean, I love that.
Amazing. Love it.
So, I mean, let's just go ahead and talk around the league. I want to make a point about the Falcons, how I think they're going to be legit, and I called them to win out in the NFC West or in the NFC South.
Yes.
Can I say that I did it
Can I
first?
say-
I totes called that first.
Totes
You
my
did.
goats.
You did.
It's not
No.
over. They also have another team in that division that's undefeated.
Yeah,
Yes,
but that's
that's
the
true.
one-man band Panthers. And
That's
Two-man,
defense. I don't know, the
Josh
defense.
Norman.
I'm riding their defense
last
right
week
now
it was
in
Greg
fantasy.
Olsen. And the common factor is Cam Newton is the only guy that can just ball out every single
I'd
play.
say Josh Norman on the other side.
And I'm going to go ahead and just make
That's
a point
two-man
about the
crew.
Falcons. The way Julio Jones was playing the first 3 games of the season,
Was
if
unreal.
I said the Falcons are going to score 48 points and
Julio
Julio
gets
Jones is
0
going to
of them?
have 4 receptions and 0 touchdowns, and Roddy White is going to have 2 receptions and 0 touchdowns,
In the past 3 weeks,
would you believe me?
no.
No.
It's
At the
just
start of the season, I would have said no way.
No way.
Devontae Freeman, he's tiny and he looks for contact. I mean, they're,
Diminutive. What's with these Florida State running backs?
I don't know, but
They're
Good for them.
Yeah.
you know, all the domestic violence and other things that happens down in Florida, they really know how to play some football apparently.
They are.
But the Falcons are going to be legit. They have Julio Jones and Roddy White to throw it out to. Devontae Freeman looks good. When Tevin Coleman comes back with his rib injury, they're going to be a much, much better team all around because they can go ahead and rest him, put Coleman in, rest Coleman, put Freeman in. And Matt Ryan's looking like the Matt Ryan of yesteryear. And I'm only saying like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Because he's finally starting to just look like Natty Ice again. I mean, that Falcons game, the Falcons-Eagles game, sorry, Lou, but he was the better
good.
quarterback.
He looked good.
And
Lou's
he
not
did-
gonna he's not
Obviously,
gonna debate that on ya.
I want Tyrod Taylor as an Eagle, not Sam Bradford.
Don't worry, you can have him in 3 years.
Oh
No, you can't.
No.
He's ours.
no,
forever.
you're getting
That means he
Jared.
flamed out. So
You're
I
getting
don't-
Jared Goff.
I'll pass on him too.
You get Chad Kelly.
I didn't say Connor Cook.
I need a mobile guy. If Chip Kelly's staying here, we need a mobile guy, or else
Cardell
then we
Jones.
need a new coach.
Yeah.
Fail for Cardell.
Fail for Cardell.
There you go.
Let me ask a question to you guys. Sticking in the NFC South, are you guys concerned at all with Jameis Winston already having 7 interceptions, or do you think this is just growing
No.
pains?
Oh,
for
I
the
knew
Rams?
that was
Concerned.
going to happen.
Peyton Manning
I
had
knew it.
28.
Concerned.
That's why I'm saying, are you concerned? Because
No.
it might just be
No.
growing pains with a first overall pick.
Concerned. I said that was going to
Tampa-
happen.
the-
I think
Well,
he's
yeah,
awful.
He turned the ball over a lot in
I
Florida
think
State,
he's
so it's
te- I think
obvious.
he's
Not
terrible.
the first. You don't just
You
you
think
don't
he's
like him as a
terrible?
player. You think he's terrible. But
Not even that. I think he is bad as a player. He's got wonky mechanics. Every time he's pressured, he just throws it off his back foot and just into a crowd. That of course you're going to have 7 picks in 4 games at that point if you're playing that way.
But then there's that game against the Saints when he looks incredible.
I wouldn't say he looked incredible.
He
He
was
looked
pretty
good, but not great. And Tampa's going to have a long road with Jameis Winston. Is he an all-time draft bust? No. But is he the best quarterback of that draft? Is he the best player of that draft class? Absolutely not.
Does Lovie Smith survive the offseason?
No.
For
No.
the season
No.
with Tampa?
Tampa is horrible, and Lovie Smith is probably, I'd say, 90% of the blame.
Okay.
No, I mean you have defense. You have a legitimate defense in Tampa Bay. Even though they paid all that money to McCoy, you still have a great linebacking crew, a great defensive line. Your offense is really where it needs to be working. It all starts at the quarterback position. I'm not the biggest fan of famous Jameis either, but he has those moments every once in a while where he looks like a star, and then he doesn't look like a star, and that's the 7 interceptions. They made the point last night that Peyton Manning had 28 interceptions his rookie year or something along that number, and then next year he went 12-4.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to see that with the Buccaneers, but I think Jameis Winston will become a better quarterback. He just has to figure out the speed of the game.
See, there's
Because he was
yeah.
the better athlete on every field he was on while he was in college. And now he is probably, and against some of these linemen, he's probably not even the best athlete on his team.
Yeah, no. But you kind of see some of these quarterbacks like Peyton Manning take that next step and learn how to use, those incredible mechanics and physical talents he has. But then there's guys that you kind of see like Matt Stafford and Jay Cutler who kind of just end up being the way they are and just really rely on their athleticism and their physical ability to play the quarterback position. And that's where I feel like Winston's really going to have to it's going to be huge within this year, the end of this year and next year is really deciding like where he's going to be placed, because he has all the physical tools to be a great quarterback and he's already shown it. But it's just, you got to find the consistency. And I think, too, a lot of the time it should more the conservative play calling might help him to try to get rid of the turnovers.
Yes.
But when you have 2 guys that are 6'4" and 6'5" on the outside with Mike Evans, Vincent Jackson, even Austin Seferian Jenkins, it's kind of tempting to really take shots. It's just, what makes the great quarterbacks is just knowing when to take those shots and having the ability to check down to your running back. So, and that's something that Mariota, who was in the same draft, has been showing he can do is, pick and choose when to take shots downfield. Winston, I feel like, is just doing it as a forced habit.
Yes.
You
And
got to be fair. Oh, go ahead, Derek.
no, I was gonna end it and segue to the pick'em. James, go ahead.
No, you go right ahead.
All right, guys. There are 6 undefeated teams left in the NFL. I want you all to predict who is the last one that gets the
Patriots.
72 Dolphins
Yep,
nervous.
I was just going to say Patriots.
I beat you to it.
Well, it's okay. You can have the same opinion
Nope.
on it.
All right, I'm changing it.
Okay.
Packers. No, I'm just kidding.
Joe?
Patriots.
Packers.
Frank?
I'm gonna go with the Packers.
Or
I'm
they both
actually-
go undefeated.
I'm actually going to
both
go with the Broncos.
Well, no,
Ooh,
that's
that defense is
don't take what I said about betting
Defense is
against the
sick.
Sheriff to heart that much.
no. It's that defense.
Okay.
That defense is for real. It is
For real, real?
absolutely disgusting how awesome they are. So I think that Denver might end up being the last team that gets the Dolphins nervous of 72. So I don't think
They
any
do
of these
have
teams.
to play Green Bay.
But Green Bay has to play them.
It's true.
Green Bay kind of struggled a little
Green
bit.
Bay's
all
yesterday
facts.
against San
Green
Francisco.
Bay is Denver's not stuck in a room with Green Bay. Green Bay is stuck in a room with Denver's defense.
But then again, there's that bad man, Aaron Rodgers.
He is a bad man.
He's a bad man.
But we're going to find out who's more bad.
We'll always say
who is more bad to the bone.
R-E-L-A-S.
And with the start of the
Time for us
primetime
to
music,
New England.
Joe, as winner this week, go ahead
Absurd.
as the lone winner this week. I'm going to give you
Real
30
quick.
seconds of bragging rights.
How much?
30 seconds.
Go.
Go.
Like
5
things
seconds.
like around the horn. Go ahead. You
5
can
of
have
the
5.
seconds.
That costs
We
$10.
went from the worst record being 11-5 last week to the best record being 6-10 this week.
Nope. Actually, Joe is looking at 10 wins.
Wow.
Woo! Who was second?
Me,
With?
At-
9.
Who was third?
Frank, actually, James and I tied with 9.
Ha.
And then Frank and Lou with 8. This is all
Frank
obvious.
Basement Buds.
But this is all
I see
subject
you.
to change. Frank and Louie might end up at
Wait,
9.
I might
We
end
will
up
end
at
up at 10 with
Yeah.
Seattle because
So
we
we'll
all got
tie.
him. We all got him. Yes.
Okay. No, or he'll have 11 still.
He'll have
still
11.
win.
He is the clear-cut winner. Joe, go ahead.
Bold pays off. That's all I have
Actually-
to say.
You know what? That was the difference.
It
The
was.
Washington game
Yeah?
over
It's
Philly.
the key.
It
See,
was
I'm
the
like
difference.
Chip Kelly, except I'm actually smart. Oh.
Those are fighting words, Joe. Those are fighting
Square
words.
up.
They're also
Brothers.
they're also currently true words.
They
I'm
are.
just glad I sit between these two.
Currently, I'm the genius.
James is gonna have to hold us back.
I'm just saying, currently, I'm the genius and Chip Kelly is the
All
fool.
right.
All right,
Okay.
all right,
You
Kurt.
are
All right.
done.
Okay.
For my safe pick, I'm taking the New England Patriots over the shell of a team in the Dallas Cowboys.
Wow, Joe, you got right into it. I like it.
Okay.
So, James, you were second place.
Come back to me. Go.
Okay, I am going to go ahead, and I'm going to take the Atlanta Falcons over the Washington Redskins. I like me them Falcons.
Okay, I will go. I will take the Colts to beat the Texans.
James, you want to go?
No, go right ahead because I'm having a hard
Francis.
time bringing up week 5.
I mean,
Here.
My
I
safe
got you.
pick is going to be Green Bay over St. Louis.
Oh, that was quick. James, we're right back to you.
Yeah.
All right. My safe pick is going to be the the Giants over the 49ers.
Okay.
All right. So we've got our locks, and it's time for the Quick'em. And before we get to the Quick'em, let's check the quarterly leaderboard here. Through 4
My
weeks.
win percentage. I only came in for 2 of them. My
Well,
win percentage.
I will say this though. I'm going to help you out. I'm going to give you a couple of things here. I'm giving you the gift of Nick Lippa's past picks.
I don't know if you
it's
want
gonna-
Didn't he
that.
come in last?
Yeah, do you want
He
those?
came in last once, but I'm giving you his 2 best bets that were acquired. I am also giving you the first place finish that he tied with me and Frank in week 1.
Okay.
So
Nice.
congratulations.
Congratulations.
We have merged you in as the 5th
Good.
wheel.
Good.
So, with that, the leaderboard is as follows. Joe is killing it with Lone Wolves. He's got 4. The next best is James and I at 1.
Well,
How many do I have?
You have 4.
Woohoo!
You're averaging 1 per
4
week.
4-0.
In honor of the Arizona Coyotes, who gave me Jack Eichel.
Group Powell.
Oh, God.
Sorry, hockey.
So,
talk.
no, it's all right.
all right.
But
Yes.
here we go. And next up, in the next version here, best bets. Frank and I are tied with 3. And James, thanks to getting Nick Lippa's best bets, you are also tied in the lead with 3. By virtue of that. You had 2 yourself, though. So
Okay.
Not bad.
you've carried even weight.
I bet.
Louie and Joe each have 1 on their best bets.
Absurd.
First place finishes. We have me, Louie, and Frank.
And me?
No.
Oh, I
You
don't
only
get-
have 1
I
first
don't
place
get-
finish.
The original
Okay.
3.
Yes.
All right.
The original 3 tied with 2 first place finishes. Louie, you're also scattershot because you take the lead in last place finishes with 2. You're either first or you're worst.
So I'm the Eagles.
You went first, you last.
He really is Eagles.
You're the Ricky Bobby of the Blitz.
I resemble my team, I guess.
All right.
And obviously, win percentage will be properly calculated at the end of the season, so we will not know what's going on there yet. But with the leaderboard done, it's time to quick 'em. You guys know the order. It's going to be me, Frank, Louie, Joe, James, Indy, Houston. Give me them Colts. The Texans are pathetic.
yeah, I got to agree. I'm going Indy.
Maybe it's time for Tom Savage to play quarterback for the Texans. I'm taking the Colts. Well, they were my safe bet.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead, Joe.
Joe.
I hate the way the Colts look right now. I'm taking the
my
Texans.
God.
Uh-oh.
Joe, why don't you just take every underdog? then?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, why not?
No, he makes he picks that one.
I don't
And
think he
Jen-
has
No,
any.
if you notice the way I do it, I take the one no one's picking, but I'm always picking against a team that's not playing well. And the
like
Colts are not playing well.
I feel like
You
he's
take
doing
good
it based off
shots.
instinct.
I'm gonna have to go with the Texans as well. They always. Play
Oh, the
well.
lone wolf robbed from Joe. Troll game strong.
No, that's all right. You see the train is going nice places, and you just want to jump on that train.
Well, yeah, but it also takes away from your
Or you can jump
strong lone wolf game.
Or you can jump
Yeah.
on the tank.
Lone wolf game strong. Kansas City, Chicago in a game that could really go either way. I'm taking the Chiefs to get back on track here.
I somehow I feel like the Bears got lucky against Oakland, so I'm gonna go Kansas City.
Yeah, I like the Chiefs too.
Take the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Joe, that one was the one I was suspecting you were going to go
I was
ahead.
fully expecting
No,
because the
I-
Chiefs
the
aren't
Bears.
playing well.
Cutler may make me laugh, but I will never pick Cutler.
Why does he make you laugh? The guy's got the most miserable face on the
That's what's
face of
funny
the
about
earth.
it.
It's funny.
He's the
Is it the diabetes?
He's
that
the
makes you
bizarre
laugh?
Brady.
Wow.
I'm
Wow.
curious.
Wow. Wow.
By the way,
Whoa,
for
whoa,
all
whoa,
for all
whoa.
those
Stop it.
Louis, for all those Seinfeld fans out there, he's the bizarro Brady.
Now, Seattle, Cincinnati. The Bengals look like one of the best teams in the NFL. The Seattle offensive line is a joke. I'm taking the Bengals.
Ooh, it's an interesting one. I'm going upset. I'm going Seattle.
I don't know if Seattle's necessarily too much of an upset.
Frank, I'm
At
with you.
this point,
I like
though.
the Seahawks here. I think they're going to really use their physicality. I think Andy Dalton's going to falter here. Seahawks.
I'm gonna have to go with Bengals.
I'm going to take the Bengals.
There we go.
I feel like Seattle.
Favorite room takes the orange and black.
I'm feeling like it's gonna be a trap game for Cincinnati.
It's
I'm-
not
I'm with you,
necessarily a
Frank,
trap.
because
This
it's
is a
not
team that
even-
you
it's-
take
it's
seriously.
Seattle.
well,
It's a trap.
Yeah.
it's
a trap.
A lot of people are gonna
All right,
think,
Admiral Akbar.
Cincinnati's they're gonna be so good. You know, and yeah, you put up the point about Seattle's offense not really getting
Their
it
offensive
done.
line is not
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
And I
and a
think-
lot of people are gonna take
Andy
Cincinnati
Dalton will
because of
fall.
it, but I feel like that Seattle's
Hey,
defense.
you
is
leave
good
my
enough.
Ginger Ninja alone.
Andy Dalton
All right.
will fall.
Yeah, okay.
Washington and Atlanta. This was my safe bet. It's Falcons.
You gotta go Falcons.
Yeah, I can't stand the Redskins, Falcons.
I wonder why.
Taking the Falcons.
Falcons.
Oh, joke.
I was close
thought,
on
I thought
it.
he was
You
going
were
Washington.
thinking about
I
it.
was close.
You were thinking about
But
it.
then Joe thought Washington can't possibly get to
Do it
3-2.
again.
Joe's
Yeah.
drinking the Kirk Cousins Kool-Aid.
Oh no.
Jacksonville, Tampa Bay. Good Lord. Taking the Jaguars, not watching this game.
Will this game even be on TV? I'm going Jacksonville.
We'll be in Florida.
Shots fired.
I'm going to go Tampa Bay. I think Winston bounce back.
Oh,
man.
boy.
I'll take Jacksonville.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and go with Tampa Bay.
Oh.
Squad.
Should not
Wolf
be
killer.
high-fiving you. Lone Wolf Killer, James
Lone Wolf
Bittler.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
New Orleans, Philadelphia. Oh, Drew Brees is back, and they look actually good again.
The thriller, the killer,
And
CJ
you know
Spiller.
what? No offense. Sorry, not sorry, Joe. I mean, Lou. I'm taking New Orleans,
I'm going the Saints.
I'm going down with the ship. I'm taking the Eagles one more time.
and you're gonna be
You're
taken
gonna
down with
be-
it.
I don't think
I
so.
picked
Not
the
this
Saints
time.
over the Cowboys, unlike the rest of y'all. But this time, I'm taking the Eagles.
Your brother
Well,
did it too, and James
I
did.
did it as well.
Yeah, it helped. It
Oh.
took away my lead.
Whoops. I'm
Uh,
taking the Eagles.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Saints.
So Joe's got
Brothers DiBiase here.
Brothers Eagles right here.
brothers Eagles.
Everyone
Oh boy,
keeps stealing my lone wolves.
everyone's stealing the wolf. Cleveland, Baltimore. I don't know. I'm taking the Ravens here because it's
You don't
just
seem
Browns.
confident.
It's just Browns
It's
things.
because it's Cleveland. You gotta go.
Just
So
Baltimore.
many
I'm
people
going
tweeted
Baltimore.
that yesterday. So many people tweeted, "Oh, it's Cleveland. Give me the Baltimore Ravens."
I'm gonna have to go ahead and go with Cleveland. They suck in with
Oh,
San Diego,
boy.
and I think they actually have a chance.
Joe.
I'm going to take. I'm gonna take the Ravens.
Oh boy, James, give it the howl.
Oh! Is that the first lone wolf of the day?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Excuse
Round
me.
board.
Oh no, wait, never mind. Someone else took the
Yeah, you're
test.
so used to
You took
taking
the
lone
test.
wolves.
Yeah. St. Louis, Green Bay. Give me that pack.
This was my safe pick, and obviously I went Green Bay.
I want to pick St. Louis, but I'm gonna go Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers is too good.
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Green Bay.
All right, so Green Bay across the board here.
Yes.
All right. I didn't really think much otherwise here. Buffalo, Tennessee. Bills rebound here. I don't think this is a trap. I think this is a game that we can leave the Admiral Akbar away from.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, Buffalo's gonna bounce back in this game, going with the Bills.
Definitely agree. I'm taking the Bills.
I'm taking the Bills.
The Bills.
Buffalo clean on the board for a second straight week. Let's see it not
Let's
backfire
hope it-
this time.
yeah.
Arizona, Detroit. I think a very angry Cardinals team comes back and bounces back strong.
Definitely have to agree with that. Same. I'm going Arizona.
You know what? Give me the Lions here.
Uh-oh.
I think they're gonna bounce
here it
back.
is.
Is he just chasing the high?
No, I like the Lions in this one. I think they could expose some troubles in the Cardinals defense.
Smell that? It's desperation.
Oh.
I'm taking the Cardinals.
Give me the Cardinals. Well, how it up?
Oh!
Dang it, Louie.
No, it's the lion. You have to roar.
Roar.
New England, Dallas. I don't see how Dallas wins this game.
Can they win?
If Tony Romo and Des Bryant were playing, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if
you're
they were
right.
playing, but they're
Even
not.
that,
so
maybe
you're going
not.
New England.
Louis, I know you're not taking Dallas.
I will never ever take Dallas. New
James,
England.
this is
New England.
all right. I was gonna say this is an opportunity, but it's not a good one.
No.
No, it's chasing the high like picking Detroit.
I'm not going for two low wolves.
Denver, Oakland. Oh boy, I feel bad
boy.
for the car. The car is gonna crash into that nasty defense. Give me the
Yeah.
Bronx.
Yeah, that defense. Denver's defense, though.
That defense, though.
That defense is
Oh
good.
my
going
gosh.
Denver.
Yeah, I'll
He's
go.
about to do it.
No, I'll go
Okay.
Denver here.
Oh, you're about to.
All right.
Joe's gonna do it.
Well, I am going to do it because I'm taking the Oakland Raiders at home to beat the Denver Broncos.
Oh boy.
Let's see Manning come into the black hole and have success.
You know what? I love how you say you're going to do it, but I'm going to pick the Broncos. Who am I kidding?
Oh.
Don't bet against the sheriff. He's
Yes.
You can't.
Yeah.
You can't do it. San Fran, New York. I can bet against Colin Kaepernick and be okay with it. Give me the Giants.
Yeah, I'm going Eli.
I'm going Giants.
That's my lock of the week.
Joe.
Well, I've been right
Be
once on the
careful.
49ers
Be
for the lone
careful.
wolf, but I will not be twice because I'm taking the Giants.
Pittsburgh, San Diego in a game that features a couple of poor defenses, but no Ben Roethlisberger, no Pittsburgh victory. Give me the Chargers.
They failed me last week, them Steelers, so I'm going against them.
You know what? I like the Steelers in this one. I think Vic bounces
They're
back.
gonna fail you.
I think
like they did
Le'Veon's
to me
gonna
last
run it-
week.
I
That's
think
'cause Vic's
Le'Veon's
your
gonna run it
quarterback
down
in
their throats.
Exactly.
Joe.
Give me degrees.
Taking the Chargers.
You know what? I'm going to take the Chargers as well. They
Two loners for Louie.
Philip
Ooh.
Rivers looks too good.
One.
And I just have one thing to say before we sign
Two.
off. I got to say hello to my grandmother who's in from Scotland. She's listening to her very first radio show with us all on.
Hi, James's
Hello,
grandma.
James's grandmother. Now listen to my lone wolf.
I just wanted to go to Scotland.
Stop doing it right in the mic. My eardrums are getting violated.
It's got to get some effect there.
Well, there's only 3 of them this week, and I picked the Browns, so let's go Brownies.
Oh yeah. Well,
You have nothing to say to that.
I got a rock.
Was that a Batman the Animated Series reference?
No, it just
Oh. Just next.
just next. And on that note, for Joe DiBiase, for Louie DiBiase, for James Bittler, for James Bittler's grandmother, for Frank Arcury, I am Derek Kramer. This has been the Buffalo Blitz. And enjoy your football this week because, as always, we sure will. Thanks again to Rob Quinn of BillsMafia.com coming in and talking football with us. Thank you all for listening. The show will be up on YouTube, and if you're listening to it archived, we thank you again. Like it, share it, spread it around, spread the love. Enjoy your football. Go Bills.